Pink Floyd says, "Shine on, you crazy diamond." But I say unto you, shine on, Captain Amerisac. It is time for us to come together. We have but one chance that we know of, for sure. Everybody, whether you believe in reincarnation or not, it doesn't change whatever it is the work that we're here to do. And with that being said, it's always going to be your lucky day if you believe it to be with full sack. Now, I personally don't believe in anything. I either know something or I don't. But why would I choose to believe in being in unluckiness? Why would I want unluckiness to emanate from me at all? And people will say, oh, well, it's not always your lucky day. Well, sometimes I have unlucky day. What are you doing to yourself? Why would you ever think that, oh, well, I know I've been unlucky, so I have to make sure that you believe in unluckiness too. Get the f*** away from us. We as full Sakian men do not condone unluckiness. We are always lucky. We confirm that, we affirm it, even if it doesn't happen. Because why not? Why would you invest in a narrative structure that perpetuates you into a state where you are unable to live the truth and let die what is false? Why would you put yourself in a position that makes you weaker to the enemy? Now, when I say the enemy, of course, the enemy is just the destroyer or the destroying of wisdom, knowledge, truth. Like, at least you can't really destroy these things, but they're trying to destroy it in the illusion of Maya, right? Or in the simulation, whatever you want to call it. Why, if you know you're in a spiritual fight, why on earth would you put yourself in a position where you see yourself as a victim to something outside of yourself? If you truly saw what was going on, if you were aligned with what is actually happening in the spirit of the time, then you would never put yourself in a position, if you know you're in a spiritual war, where you'd be in a weaker position. The only reason why you would do that is like with Art of War, Sun Tzu, where he says, when you are weak, pose is strong. When you are strong, pose is weak. Because I do have, well, I have had an Art of War class in the Regal Academy, and right now we're cycling through a couple different classes. The most recent class that I have up for everybody is the Art of Seduction, and that's another very powerful, very, very powerful book to digest and break down. And I've got it, set up into modules and everything, so it's more digestible for everybody. And there's optional tasks available. And what I've seen already is that it making things like this more digestible and more available for people to associate with their own narrative structure in a way that challenges their narrative structure but doesn't condone it is going to be very probabilistically actualized in the domain of which they want to perform in. Because as men, as full Sakian men, my concern, like, okay, if you watch my videos every single day for 15 plus minutes, whether it's on this channel or the Regal Shaman channel, whatever the case is, I see it as my duty and my service, really. Like my service, what I want to do, because this is what I want to do. I never run out of energy talking about the things that I do. There's so much available to talk about when it comes to these types of topics. And I know that I'm giving information in a way that has never been heard before. If you're still listening to this, consider this one of the luckiest decisions you've ever made. Why not? Why not consider that? Why not consider listening to some fire, soul, power, spirit, full Sakian man who's been on the journey for years, who knows the ins and outs of all of these different types of things going on in the world, who doesn't know everything. I don't claim to know everything. But, again, that's why I say I either know something or I don't. Because I have enough humility to accept when I don't know something. But I'm not going to say, ooh, well, that's gonna make me, well, I'm gonna be depressed if I don't know that. Why would you, like Jim Carrey said that one of his spiritual guides said that depressed is deep rest for the soul. And I think that there's a lot of truth in that. And the spiritual path is a very interesting path because there's going to be seasons where you feel super fiery and you're on fire and you can go fight forever, you know. You have unlimited energy. And then there's going to be times where you're like, man, I really need to rest. You know, I really just need to surrender to the soul of existence and the spirit of the time. And I just need to rest. And that's okay. You know, whatever season you're in. But don't try to limit your consciousness and then get upset when things don't work out the way that you want to. You have to be willing to expand your consciousness. This is what I've noticed with people. So, for example, people who have a high stress tolerance, they're seen as important in the world. But people who are calm and at peace, these are people who are seen more as removed from society. So what I would say is that there's a balance to be had, but balance is not the important thing. Being centered is. So however the soul of existence wants to express itself through you in the spirit of the time is the most important aspect. But don't let yourself, don't let your laziness be disguised as righteous rest when you know that you need to go get to work. You need to do something. I've never met, out of all the people I've met with hundreds of people around the world, hundreds of men and dozens of women. And what I've noticed is the most depressed, the most anxious people, they're not doing things that they actually want to do with their life on their own time. Now look, I get it. We live in a hellhole, basically. We live in a God-shaped whole society. I get it. I totally get it. And I'm with you, I am doing my best every single day. Because I see that as it is my part of my spiritual service, my dharma, you could say, is to give you guys as much information as fluently, as fluidity based. There we go with the fluidity. As fluidity based, as raw as possible. I don't edit these videos, at all. I don't edit these videos. I give it to you guys straight, and I just let my consciousness flow through the spirit of the time. Now look, however, if you want to go create a business, or you want to get in a healthy, positive relationship, whatever the case is, I've seen so many different types of people who, if they're just not making actions toward the things that they want, that's why they're depressed. That's why they're not excited about life. They're filled with adventure. They're trying to limit themselves. And they're trying to use this form of righteousness disguised, it's actual cowardice disguised as righteousness. And that's what's so irritating. And I know I've been guilty of this in the past as well. I've been guilty of this. I'm not saying, oh yeah, I'm totally perfect now. No, you just have to learn from it and be like, okay, yeah, that's a stupid decision to make. Because in this life, it's not about your character is more about the decisions that you make in the environments that we find ourselves in, until you be the circumstance and you be the environment that people have to adapt to. If you don't have that fire in you, if you don't have that warrior in you, so many people, they want to be successful. They want to win. I am at war with the religionists, the politicians, the government, all of these education systems, the educationists, all of these scholars. I'm at war with these people because it gives me something to strive for. Not because I want to win against these people. No. I want to battle. I want to battle against these motherfuckers because they have taken advantage of people like myself, people like you, and people all over the world for far too long. And if we If we can't win, well, then at least we're not going to stop trying to fight. At least we're not going to stop trying to get out there with our full Sakian power and go full godlike savage mode on these motherfuckers. Because I'm getting really amped up. Because it gets me like, come on, let's go. These people, look, by 2030, I would say, things are going to get even more crazy. Like last night, I'm not telling you, this is not financial advice. I'm not saying that you should do this. But yesterday afternoon / last night, I sold all of my ETFs and my stocks that I had. Not because I was making money, not because I wasn't making money, not because I was making money, but just because I was like, you know what? Holy crap. All of these stocks, all these ETFs, yeah, like on paper, you know, I'm getting dividends and all that. Nothing crazy, you know, nothing crazy or, you know, nothing extravagant. But I'm thinking to myself, you know, I'm basically funding the perpetuation of fiat currency, which is BS anyway. Because anything that you can print, for those of you that don't know what fiat currency is, it's basically government printed currency. So fiat currency is where essentially the government can just keep printing the money. So the example that I gave like a week or two ago was with the rate of inflation right now, if you have $1,000 in your hand, let's say you have $1,000 in your hand, in 4 months from now, that $1,000 is going to be worth $966. That's inflation. That's fiat currency. Now, silver, gold, Bitcoin, etc., all these other financial resources, again, I'm not giving you financial advice necessarily. I'm just saying, I realize that by perpetuating the fiat system, like, look, if you want to play the system in that way, go for it. You know, go for it. But I'm just deciding myself, because I am being the circumstance here. If we want to actually fight these people, and we want to stand up for the individual, not for the people, because I'm not a man of the people, I'm a man of the individual. If I want to stand up for the individual, I have to be an individual. I have to be sovereign. And this is one of the reasons why I have the Godlike Mastery offer. Not everybody's going to make it through this Godlike Mastery offer, by the way. I'm at the point now where I've seen that the container, which is the Godlike Mastery offer itself, has become so alchemized in its own way. Like it truly is a system to get you out of systems. And the people that are resisting it, but not working with the resistance, are not going to be able to fathom what they actually need to do to get out of the system. Because the systems, like any religion, like any education system, like any ideology. I'm not saying the Godlike Mastery is an ideology, by the way. It's not. It's a philosophy of no philosophy. That's the full sack philosophy. It's a philosophy of no philosophy. That's what makes you lucky, by the way, is because you just trust you're lucky. You just trust it. That's all it is. But anyways, this system, to help you get out of systems, it only works. The paradox is it only works if you get trapped in the system. But don't even think about it as trapped. Think about it as you're being part of the system until you're not. That's exactly what we have to do financially, economically, spiritually, physically. Like, I don't use toothpaste anymore. For those of you that are on my Regal Shaman channel, you know that I don't use toothpaste because of the fluoride. What I use, I make my own concoction of coconut oil, baking soda, and then some spearmint essential oil. Because it decalcifies your third eye, basically, is what, you know, that's the way to think about it. It decalcifies your third eye. And why is that? Well, because all of these chemicals, think about all the food. Like, I only eat whole food. I don't really go out to eat ever. The only time I've been out to eat in the last, 2 years was a month and a half, 2 months ago. And even then, I made sure to go to a really nice place where I knew the food was whole. Because I wanted to celebrate something that hadn't happened before it happened yet. Because to celebrate things before they happen, it puts you in that state of mind. This is what I mean. You kind of have to create your own luck to some degree. And don't even think about it as luck. Like, so many people, they want to believe that, oh, well, he just got lucky, she just got lucky. Hell no. I don't, like, luck exists. I'm sure of it. But luck really, in the regard of the Regal timeline theory, if we want to talk about, the true mechanics of what luck is. Now, Aristotle would have some different differentiations on this topic. If you've ever read Nicomachean Ethics, yeah, it's over there. But if you've ever read Nicomachean Ethics, then you'd know this by Aristotle. But luck, when it comes to the Regal timeline theory, is just you are the pattern convergence signal. You are so open in your heart, because that's what I want to encourage people. My Godlike Mastery, the Regal Academy, it's all about opening. Open. It's not, I'll open here and maybe not there. I don't really, and then I'll call it something that makes me feel like I'm the moral police. That's what I don't like about a lot of these religionists. Like, have you ever listened to some of these pastors? Like, I remember listening to a pastor talk about meditation one time. And I've been practicing meditation for years. And I listened to this pastor because I was following Christ at the time, technically. And I'm not opposed to Christ. I would say that we're all Christ. We're all the soul of existence. Whatever you want to call it. Whatever you want to call God, that's what we are. It's who we are at our most fundamental levels. But I didn't want to, I don't want to associate myself with anything outside of myself anymore. I'm just me. I'm just me with a full sack. Like, that's pretty much it. Like, that's it. And everybody that has worked with me has had an impact on their life in some way, shape, or form or another. Nobody has left anything they've been working with me or my videos. Like, I know how to get people's, I would say I know how to get people's minds working in a different way. That's what I would say. It's like what the Bible says, be constantly renewed by your own mind. You don't want to be renewed by your own mind, though, a lot of times. You don't want to, because it's difficult. But that's when people say, oh, but I'm depressed. No, you're not depressed. You're trying to make things, or you'll make believe in your toxic positivity. Like, oh, but I have to be happy. No. No, if there's an actual thing that you want to look at, that you don't want to look at because you're afraid of it, and you call it moral policing. Like, you call something, you label it whatever you want, but what it is moral policing. You are committing thought crime against yourself, and you call it justice. I don't work well with people like that. All right. Well, that's the video for today. You can tell I'm feeling the Leo in me right now, because the sun is in Leo right now, or it was in Leo, and I'm feeling, or excuse me, no, it still is in Leo, but I'm feeling that bold energy. I'm feeling that like fire energy, and so I'm just going with it. I'm just full on warrior mode right now, because I know what I want to build. I know what I'm showing people. I know that I'm showing people how to get rich internally. I know I'm showing people how to notice what it's like to be who they are. And I'm not going to stop. We're not going to stop. The testosterone levels are too high. The full sack levels are too high. We can forge the soul of existence with our power. Why would we stop now? So, peace be with you. Be blessed. Until next time.